Proverbs is a book, it's a book of wise saying. Proverbs at times can be confusing because it doesn't have much of a pattern as a story would have. When you read Genesis, you read it similar to a story. It has an order, beginning to the end of a certain story. Even though Genesis may have some prophecy in it, but it's not like Proverbs. Proverbs is accredited, the writing is accredited to Solomon, the wise man Solomon. Everyone can remember Solomon, Solomon being one of the wisest, or the wisest man ever to live. The Bible also talks about how rich Solomon was. Solomon is the son of David, King David, the man after God's own heart. Solomon was a great man. David and Bathsheba had this child by the name of Solomon. Solomon started the kingdom while he was yet of a young age. He inherited the kingdom and did a fairly good job. But the greatest thing about Solomon is that he was so wise. Solomon was wise. And when God asked Solomon, God had approved of the building of the temple. We talked about a couple of weeks ago how God approved the building of the temple and the sacrifices. He asked Solomon what could he do for him. How would you like it if God asked you, what can I do for you? I'm telling you today, God is asking you today, what can I do for you? I am at your service. That's God. That's God. What can I do for you? And so God asked Solomon, what did he need? And Solomon did not ask for riches. He did not ask for dominion. He did not ask for social status. He didn't ask for any of these things, but he asked for wisdom. And he said, God, I need wisdom, for who can judge such a great of people as your people? In other words, Solomon saying, look, I'm going to have to judge your people, God. I'm going to have to run your people, God. Now, if I was just in the world, if I was just the president of a carnal place or the president of a wicked place, I don't need wisdom, you know, because all I got to do is have money and people are going to follow. Y'all know many of the people right now running for president is because of their money. Okay? There are people with absolutely no money but have more wisdom and ideas to run this country and can run it successfully, greater than some of those who have the money. But it's the money that causes them to, that gives them the availability to run for office, and that's what also put them in office. And we're going to leave that alone. But Solomon said, give me wisdom. And if you read about Solomon, he was so wise. He was extremely wise. So in the Proverbs, we read some of Solomon's wise sayings. Amen? We see that in Solomon. I want y'all to understand that the thing about Solomon is that he was a humble man, although he was rich. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, maybe last weekend, but we talked about how Solomon's, the temple that he built, valued at $500 billion. Now, I didn't say million. I didn't say 500,000. I said $500 billion. That's the temple alone. But yet he built him a house. Now I've been in $1 million homes before. Some of you have also. You've been in $1 million homes. Some of you may have $1 million home. I'd like to go over there and get back on it now. $1 million home. Solomon built himself a home also. The value of Solomon's house was also $500 billion. A man as meek and humble as Solomon, full of riches. Wise man. So how do we get that wisdom? Yes, definitely it comes from God. But God have planted wisdom and knowledge all around us. The problem is not with the wisdom and knowledge not being available to us. The problem is that we don't know how to tap into the resources. Because we feel as though we know it all. It's quiet. Solomon realized that he didn't know it all. Solomon realized that he needed help. Solomon knew that if I don't get help, I will, no doubt, fail. Solomon. Brothers and sisters, God have your help right next to you, right in front of you, right on the side of you, right behind you. Tell somebody next to you or behind you that you are a precious jewel. I'm not talking about what you look like. I'm not saying y'all don't look like precious jewel. Don't get me wrong. I am not talking about what you look like. I am not talking about your shell. The Bible says there's heavenly treasures in earthen vessels. We all come in different hair texture, different height, different sizes, different skin color. We all come in different ways and forms. But on the inside, there is precious jewels in you. And I will never find out until I start digging. I will never find out. Sister Rosa, you will never find the jewel in Sister Sheila. Not to say Cynthia. Until you start digging. A psychiatrist, you know how to help you out? By you telling them what's wrong and you telling them how you are going to fix it. And then they charge you about $200,000 or $300,000. They dig into information that is in you. It's in you. It's in you. I know you might say, well, I never finished high school. I know you might say, well, I just stopped in the 4th or 5th grade. I know you might say, well, I got a college degree, but I didn't do too good in college. I know you might say, well, I live in the ghetto right now. I know you might say, well, I don't have it all together. There's jewels in you. Every experience you've been through since you were a young child, everything is still in you. It's in you. Every information that you got from school, every information that you got just from looking around, there's precious jewels in you. A gold mine looks just like a typical big rock or mountain. You never know it's a gold mine by just looking at the surface. You never know it is a gold mine by looking at the surface. A diamond mine. You never know it's a diamond mine by looking at the surface. And too often, brothers and sisters, we look at the surface and we ignore it. And God tells us, find out from him. Find out from her. There's a wealth of information in them, but the surface turns away. A pearl. looks on the outside just a typical clamshell. And I don't know how many clams they have to open up to find a pearl, but I'm sure they have a lot of oysters to eat before they find a pearl. Isn't it? There's a wealth of knowledge and information in you. I like to surround myself with just ordinary people and dig into their minds. My kids already know I talk to them 24/7 if I could. I dig into their minds and find out there's some information even in your kids that will help you. It's time out for just throwing those kids. Look, shut up, don't you say another word. Sit there and stay there until it's time to go to bed. I was raised right, y'all. Come on, y'all. I love my mama. Come on, y'all. Information, even in the kids, that we need. That we need. That we need. We find ourselves sometimes even in poverty. The only reason is because we never ask anybody. There's many people homeless, and don't get me wrong, there are people homeless because of certain circumstances and situations that actually happen. But there are some that are homeless because they are just selfish. Not all of them, please, don't get me wrong. I want to make sure that's clear. Some just don't want to be, their relatives live right down the street. They have a mother, they ran away from home, and they have a mama or daddy live right, but they don't want to confine to what mom and daddy say, so now they rather information, brothers and sisters. We got the internet now, we got all this and that, but you know the greatest information we can get is people who've been through it already. Brother, if I wanted to get some biceps, where the biceps? That's biceps? If I wanted to get some biceps, and what's biceps? I heard of triceps too. And triceps. Triceps. If I wanted to get, I don't have it, so I gotta ask. If I wanted to get some biceps and triceps and a six-pack, mine is about a half a keg. And a six-pack. Now, I've never done it before, and never had it before. Sorry, I just not had it, man. But I see him. Start asking that young man, how do I do that? How do I? And then when it starts getting painful, I tell him, man, that hurts. He said, that's okay. He said, okay, it hurt me when I first started out. Right? It's going to hurt because, as far as I understand, is that your muscle actually breaks and then repair itself with new cells. And that's what causes it to start expanding. I know some stuff. I want to break my muscles, man. Information, brothers and sisters. If I wanted to know how to do hair, I don't know how to do hair. I got a little baby, my baby girl right there know how to do hair. Any cosmetologist in here? Anybody? I asked her. If I wanted to learn to sing, Casey would just tell me, Daddy, that's an impossibility. But brothers and sisters, Solomon was wise enough to get information from people. Solomon did not build a temple on his own. He's accredited to building the temple. And we all talk about how Solomon had a great temple, a wonderful temple. Solomon built an awesome temple. Solomon built no temple at all. It was the people he got information from and organized them and put them together, and they built the temple, even some of his enemies. Some of us won't even go to an enemy to ask information. There's precious jewels in everybody. Your neighbor have a wealth of information that you need. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5. Proverbs 20, verse 5. Bless the name of the Lord. 20, verse 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it up. Counsel in the heart of a man is like deep water. A man of understanding, a wise man will know just how to draw it up. Mama. There's so much in you, and if I'm wise enough, I can get it out of you. Otherwise, your deep water will remain in you like a well with water and nobody drawing it out. Like a gold mine sitting right across the street, nobody's getting gold. Like a diamond mine in the midst of the ghetto, but nobody wise enough to dig and get the diamonds. Counsel in the heart of a man. It's like deep water. But a wise man, a man of understanding, will draw it. He'll get that information out. He'll get it out. How many of you were ever lost driving somewhere and you asked for information? Now, I'm the type of person that I get lost every time we go out of town. I confess. And I'm the type of person that really don't care to ask for directions. So my wife and my kids continue to tease me while we're driving into nowhere. But if I just stop at a station, but you know what? Sometimes I stop at a station and they have so many different directions to one place because they're familiar with the area. And they'll tell you this way, and then another will say that way, and then another say that way, and and you know what that tells me? That people are willing to help out someone who wants information. The problem is that we do not ask. So when you stopped at that station, you actually stopped at a gold mine. And you started digging. And you didn't just find gold, you also find diamonds. You find silver. You find all kinds of stuff in there because they gave you all different directions but going to one same place. People are willing to give you information if you are willing to ask and say, I don't know. How many of us are willing to say, but I don't know? I don't know. Solomon said in his word, God, I am but a child. I don't even know how to. Now I'm talking about the king. He was crowned king of Israel. I don't even know how to go in or come out. I'm but a child. That's the problem with the common American people today. We know too much. And yet, we do not know enough. Verse 15 of the same chapter, verse 15. Amen. There is gold multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. There is gold in a multitude, or plenty, a whole lot of, or mucho grande. I know a little bit of Spanish. I think that's all I know.
Poquito.
What's that?
Poquito.
Poquito. That's poquito.
A little bit.
Oh, okay. There's a whole lot of rubies, brothers and sisters. But the lips of knowledge is greater than the gold, than the rubies, than the silver, than the diamond. The lips of knowledge. Many people get a lot of money. And there are times, especially stars, people who are football players, basketball players, sports guys. Many of them make a whole lot of money. I think one of the guys, they were saying making like 33 million. One of the football players, 33 million a year. A year! A year! 33 million a year! Y'all, did y'all hear that? Well, a year. And I don't think he's one of the top players. One of the top. A year. They suspended one of the coaches. Our coach. Yeah. We don't want to talk about that. That's not on the internet. They suspended one of the coaches for a year's salary. And I think it's like 75 million. 70, that's a year's salary. 1 year salary. $75 million he do not make this year. I'm sure he still has some money from last year. Okay? Brothers and sisters, what I am saying here is that the money does not make you. The money does not give you knowledge. The money does not give you wisdom. Because if he was wise enough, he would not have done what he did to get suspended. Right? That's wisdom. There's a wealth of information in you, my sister, and you, my sister, and you, my sister, and you, my mother, and you, my brother, and you. Wealth of information. We need to learn how to dig. The deepest gold mine in the world, the deepest gold mine is 2.4 miles deep. They dug 2.4 miles to get to the gold, but they got it. That's patience. That's patience. That's bearing the heat. That's going underground. I'm sure some people might have got killed or injured under there, but there's gold back there. The deepest diamond mine in the world is 1,900 feet. 1,900 feet underground. That takes patience. And I'm of the mindset, if I'm going to succeed in this world, and I'm learning, y'all, if I'm going to succeed in this world, I'm going to have to take the counsel of others. I'm going to have to listen and be able to decipher what is right and what is not. I'm going to have to definitely listen to God, because the Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Also say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So I got to first fear God. God has set people up to help me to succeed. God has set people up to help you to succeed. The problem is not with God, and it's not with the people. The problem is with He set it out. He has set it up. Verse 15, we said we already read. Let's read Proverbs 11:14. Proverbs 11:14. Bless the name of the Lord. He is worthy to be praised. He is God. Everybody have it? Did I say verse 14? Where no counsel is, the people fall. Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Young people, listen up real good. Your mother and your father desire to see you succeed. Your mother and your father desire to see you excel them. Your mother and your father loves you. Young people, listen up good. If you cannot take the advice of mom and dad, you are on a downward spiral course to destruction. You are. Listen up good, young people. Your mother and your father been through some of the things you are going through now. And one of the things you will say over and over and over, that they don't understand. The time is different. While the time is different, the spirit is the same. And because of what we've been through, we can recognize the devil a mile away. We've been there. I didn't want to listen to mama many times. I learned valuable lessons. We've been there. And how many of you could testify because you didn't listen to mama or daddy? You've been through some stuff that you wish you would have listened to mom and dad. Amen. Now that's parents raising their hand. Now, can you imagine the kids now? Kids, listen, please listen. Your mother and your father is giving you wise counsel. Wise counsel. You cannot do it on your own, kids. Please listen. We say it because we love you. You cannot do it on your own. Yes, dad didn't do the right things. Sure, mama was probably on the street corners. Mama was there, but she don't want you there. Papa was a rolling stone, but he don't want you to be a rolling stone. Papa learned from his actions. He don't want you to be that way. Yes, Daddy was locked up for quite some time, but he don't want to see you. I was at a main conference just the other day, just yesterday, and this man told me that this man went to prison. I can't remember how long he was in prison and what he did, but he was in prison, and he said he was free from prison. But the most hurting thing that happened to him is when he was signing out of prison, his son was signing into prison. Can you imagine? Young people, please listen. Take wisdom. You don't have it yet. You don't have that wisdom yet. Not that you're not wise. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have the wisdom that comes through experience because you haven't been there yet. Please take advice from your parents, because I'm here to tell you today, you will end up going back to that same person that told you not to do that. I told you not to do that. I told you not to go there. I told you. Why didn't you listen? And after a while, parents just say, okay, yawn. And we already know what's going to happen, but they're on their head too hard. Next thing you know, they're back. Sometimes they're back with a package. Yeah. How many of you know about that? Both hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Come on, y'all. Knowledge, wisdom, more precious than gold. Yes, but he want to give me a diamond ring. But what's in mama is greater than that diamond ring. That's right. Yes, but he got a nice 2-story home he want to put me in. Yeah, but what daddy told you is more valuable than that 2-story home. I'd rather listen to daddy than to be in that 2-story home by myself. I'd rather listen to mama than to have a diamond ring just like the other girl. Come on, y'all. There's a precious jewel. Relationships is the greatest, most valuable thing you can have. Relationships. None of us are an island unto ourselves. You know why it's so expensive in Hawaii to go in to even get a burger? I think a burger, just a burger, costs like $6, $7 for a burger. The same burger you get for about $1 menu? I don't know about the dollar menu. Why is it so expensive? It's an island. And so you got to export and import. You got to get it from one place to the other. It's so far. Brothers and sisters, we cannot be an island unto ourselves. The land that is right within us, right by us, mama, daddy, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa, all of that. First of all, family, and then friends. There's a precious jewel in you. Tell somebody there's precious jewel in you. And whether you know it or not, say it. I have my shovel, and I'm about to dig it out of you. Give the Lord a hand for it. Solomon knew about that. Solomon had no problems asking for information. Solomon got great information and was able, and we still talk about Solomon today, to be the richest man to ever live. The richest man to ever live. He got the information. Instruction or counsel is jewel. Wisdom is jewel. Understanding or knowledge is jewel. It is a precious jewel. Amen? Why does great people fall? I pondered on that for years. Some of the greatest. How many of you remember Samson? Brother, all you got to do is let your hair grow in locks. Man, we can call you Samson. He's a great kid, y'all. You know I have a sense of humor, too. Oh, I tell you what, we just cut Alan locks. Samson, great man. The problem with great people, with some great people, and why they fall, they know their strength. They know how to work on their strengths. They are recognized by their strengths. They are seen by their strength. And they continue to build their strength. But one problem they have, they are not acquainted with their weakness. Samson, his strength did it all. And all he had was one woman to find out where his weakness is.
That's right, well, he is right.
And he fell as a result of the weakness that he did not nurture into strength. That's how they fall. What's your strength today? And most of us may be able to say it. But what is your weakness today? There's a wealth of information. Let's build up our weakness. Everybody please stand. Let's build up our weakness. Because your strength will always be there.